21 black celebrities who were killers you didn't know about. What if the celebrity you admired wasn't remembered for awards or hit records but for a tragic death that changed countless lives forever? In this video, we'll uncover the true stories of famous black celebrities whose lives took shocking turns because of violent incidents, devastating decisions, and criminal cases that stunned the world. Some accepted responsibility, others continue to maintain their innocence. But every story left behind victims, grieving families, and unforgettable consequences. Watch until the end, because the final case is one of the most controversial of them all. Which story shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join Golden Black Legends for more powerful true stories. Suge Knight. For years, Suge Knight stood at the center of one of the most influential empires in hip-hop. As the co-founder of Death Row Records, he helped launch the careers of artists including Tupac Shakur, Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg, transforming West Coast rap into a cultural force during the 1990s. His imposing presence and uncompromising business style earned him both respect and fear. Yet behind the commercial success, his name became increasingly associated with violence, legal disputes, and controversy that would eventually overshadow his achievements. The turning point came on January 29, 2015 in Compton, California. During a confrontation outside Tams Burgers, Knight drove his pickup truck through a parking lot, striking two men. Terry Carter, a longtime friend and respected businessman, died from his injuries while Clee "Bone" Sloan survived. Security footage captured the incident, though Knight maintained that he acted in self-defense after fearing for his own safety. The case generated intense public debate, but prosecutors argued that the evidence supported criminal responsibility. Facing the possibility of life imprisonment, Knight accepted a plea agreement in September 2018. He pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter and received a 28-year prison sentence. The plea avoided a lengthy trial while bringing one of hip-hop's most closely watched criminal cases to a conclusion. Since then, Knight has remained incarcerated, his influence on the music industry replaced by discussions about accountability and consequences. Suge Knight's story is one of extraordinary success, followed by dramatic downfall. He helped shape an era of American music, yet his legacy can never be separated from the legal troubles that ultimately defined his later years. For many longtime fans, his life serves as a reminder that fame, power, and influence cannot erase the consequences of decisions made in moments of conflict. His name remains permanently linked to both the rise of Death Row Records and one of the industry's most tragic real-life criminal cases. Michael Jace. For television audiences, Michael Jace was a familiar face known for portraying disciplined law enforcement officers and determined authority figures. His most recognizable role came as Officer Julian Lowe on The Shield, where his quiet intensity and believable performances earned respect from viewers over 6 successful seasons. Outside Hollywood, however, financial strain and growing tension within his marriage created a reality far different from the characters he portrayed on screen. On May 19, 2014, tragedy unfolded at the family's home in Los Angeles. After his wife April, Jace returned from an evening jog, an argument escalated into violence. Michael Jace shot her multiple times while their 2 young sons were inside the house. Rather than fleeing, he immediately called 911 and admitted what he had done, telling the dispatcher that he had shot his wife. Responding officers arrested him at the scene without resistance, beginning a case that shocked both Hollywood and the public. During the investigation and subsequent trial, prosecutors argued that the shooting resulted from escalating marital conflict involving financial problems and the couple's impending divorce. Witness testimony and forensic evidence painted a devastating picture of the final moments inside the home. In 2016, a jury convicted Jace of second-degree murder. He was later sentenced to 40 years to life in prison, effectively ending both his acting career and his freedom. While the case attracted widespread media attention because of Jace's television fame, the lasting impact reached far beyond Hollywood headlines. Two children lost their mother and watched their father enter prison forever, altering the course of their lives. Michael Jace's story stands as one of the entertainment industry's most heartbreaking criminal cases, illustrating how unresolved anger and personal turmoil can destroy families in an instant. For viewers looking back today, his legacy is no longer defined by memorable performances, but by a tragedy that continues to resonate long after the camera stopped rolling. C. Murder. Before prison walls replaced concert stages, C. Murder was one of Southern hip-hop's biggest stars. Born Corey Miller, he rose to fame through No Limit Records, the influential label founded by his brother Master P. During the late 1990s, albums such as Life or Death and Bossalini earned platinum success, while his gritty lyrics and unmistakable delivery made him a respected figure in rap. At the height of his career, few imagined that his future would become defined not by music, but by one of Louisiana's most controversial criminal cases. Everything changed on January 12, 2002, inside the Platinum Club in Harvey, Louisiana. A confrontation erupted in the crowded nightclub, ending when 16-year-old Steve Thomas was fatally shot. Witness accounts varied dramatically from the beginning. Some identified C. Murder as the shooter, while others later recanted or disputed earlier statements. Physical evidence was limited, making the investigation and subsequent trials highly controversial. Despite ongoing debate surrounding witness credibility, prosecutors maintained they had proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt. After years of appeals and legal proceedings, C. Murder was convicted of second-degree murder and in 2009 received a mandatory sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Since then, he has consistently maintained his innocence. His legal team and family have continued seeking post-conviction relief, pointing to disputed testimony and requesting further review of the evidence. Nevertheless, as of today, his conviction remains in effect. For many fans, C. Murder's story represents one of hip-hop's greatest what-ifs. A performer who once seemed destined for decades of success instead became known for a courtroom battle that has lasted longer than his music career itself. Whether remembered for platinum records or lengthy legal appeals, his legacy remains inseparable from a case that continues to divide public opinion. It is a powerful reminder that a single violent night can permanently redefine a person's life, career, and place in history. Ray Caruth. Ray Caruth appeared to have everything an athlete could want. Drafted in the first round of the 1997 NFL Draft by the Carolina Panthers, the talented wide receiver possessed speed, athleticism, and the promise of a long professional career. Expectations were high, and many believed he could become one of the league's rising stars. Instead, his name would become synonymous with one of the most disturbing crimes ever connected to professional football. On the night of November 16, 1999, Caruth's pregnant girlfriend Cherika Adams was driving through Charlotte, North Carolina, when another vehicle pulled alongside her and opened fire. Seriously wounded, Adams managed to call 911 before losing consciousness. During the call, she identified Caruth and described how his vehicle had slowed and blocked her path moments before the shooting. She survived long enough to deliver her son, Chancellor Lee Adams, through an emergency cesarean section. Tragically, Cherika died several weeks later from her injuries, while Chancellor survived with permanent cerebral palsy caused by oxygen deprivation before birth. Investigators concluded that Caruth had orchestrated the attack to avoid financial responsibility associated with fatherhood. Prosecutors alleged that he hired Van Brett Watkins Sr. and others to carry out the shooting in exchange for payment. After fleeing authorities and hiding in the trunk of a car, Caruth was arrested and brought to trial. In 2001, he was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder, shooting into an occupied vehicle, and using an instrument to destroy an unborn child. He received a sentence of approximately 18 to 24 years in prison and was released in 2018 after serving nearly 2 decades. The lasting tragedy extends far beyond the courtroom. A young mother lost her life. A child grew up facing lifelong medical challenges, and an NFL career with enormous potential ended in disgrace. Ray Caruth's story remains one of professional sport's darkest cautionary tales, demonstrating how deliberate choices can erase extraordinary talent and leave irreversible consequences for innocent families. Don King. Long before Don King became one of boxing's most recognizable promoters, he lived a life far removed from championship arenas and multi-million-dollar title fights. Growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, King became involved in illegal gambling and street-level criminal activity during the 1950s and 1960s. His sharp business instincts were already evident, but they operated in a dangerous environment where violence often accompanied financial disputes. That past would later become an unavoidable part of his public story. In 1966, King became involved in a fatal confrontation with Sam Garrett, a man who reportedly owed him money connected to his gambling business. During the altercation, Garrett was beaten and stomped in the street before dying from his injuries. King was charged with murder, but the case ultimately resulted in a conviction for second-degree manslaughter. He served nearly 4 years in prison before being released. While incarcerated, King reflected on his future and later credited that period with motivating him to pursue a completely different path after regaining his freedom. Remarkably, he reinvented himself within the boxing world. During the 1970s and 1980s, King promoted some of the sport's most historic events, including the legendary Rumble in the Jungle between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman in 1974 and the Thriller in Manila between Ali and Joe Frazier in 1975. He later managed the careers of stars, including Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes, Evander Holyfield, and many others, becoming one of the most influential and controversial figures in boxing history. Despite his extraordinary business success, King's criminal past has never disappeared from discussions about his legacy. Admirers point to his unmatched promotional skills and lasting influence on the sport, while critics argue that his early violence remains impossible to separate from his public image. His life illustrates how redemption and accomplishment can coexist with actions that continue to provoke difficult moral questions decades later. Even today, Don King's story remains one of the most extraordinary transformations and enduring controversies in the history of American sports. Big Lurch, before the world associated his name with one of hip-hop's most horrifying criminal cases. Big Lurch, born Antron Singleton, was an emerging rapper building a reputation in the West Coast underground scene. Standing well over 6 feet tall, with a commanding voice, he collaborated with artists connected to the Bay Area and Texas rap movements during the late 1990s and early 2000s. Although he never reached mainstream superstardom, many believed he possessed the raw talent to establish a lasting career. Tragically, everything changed during a drug-induced episode that shocked even veteran investigators. On April 10, 2002, police in Los Angeles responded to reports of a violent disturbance inside an apartment. There, they discovered the body of 21-year-old Tanisha Isais, who had suffered horrific injuries. Investigators concluded that Singleton, while under the influence of PCP, had attacked and killed his roommate in an episode of extreme psychosis. Officers later found him wandering nearby covered in blood and displaying signs of severe intoxication. The gruesome nature of the crime quickly drew nationwide media attention, making it one of the most disturbing criminal cases ever linked to the rap industry. During the trial, the defense argued that Singleton's mental state had been profoundly altered by PCP, leaving him incapable of understanding his actions. Prosecutors acknowledged the role of the drug but maintained that he remained legally responsible for the killing. In 2003, a California jury convicted Big Lurch of murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. More than 2 decades later, the case continues to be cited as a devastating example of how substance abuse can fuel unimaginable violence. Instead of being remembered for his music, Big Lurch's name has become permanently associated with a tragedy that destroyed multiple lives. His story remains one of the darkest cautionary tales in hip-hop history, illustrating how a single night of drug-induced madness can erase every dream, every opportunity, and every chance for redemption. G-Dep. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, G-Dep appeared poised to become one of Bad Boy Records' next breakout stars. Born Trevell Coleman, he impressed listeners with thoughtful lyrics and a smooth delivery, eventually earning recognition through collaborations with Diddy and Black Rob. His debut album, Child of the Ghetto, showcased his storytelling ability and suggested a promising future. Yet behind the growing success, Coleman carried a secret that haunted him every day, a secret dating back long before fame arrived. The tragedy occurred in December 1993 on the streets of Harlem, New York. According to Coleman's later confession, he attempted to rob a stranger named John Henkel. During the confrontation, Coleman fired a gun, fatally wounding the victim before fleeing the scene. The homicide remained unsolved for nearly 17 years. While his music career rose and later faded, the weight of that night never disappeared. Friends noticed his growing interest in religion and personal reflection, unaware of the burden he continued to carry. In December 2010, Coleman walked into a New York police precinct and voluntarily confessed to the killing. Detectives were initially surprised because the cold case had long gone dormant. After reviewing evidence and confirming details known only to the perpetrator, authorities arrested him. In 2012, G-Dep was convicted of murder and sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. Unlike many high-profile criminal cases, G-Dep's story stands out because the investigation was revived through his own decision to surrender rather than through new forensic evidence. He has repeatedly said that living with guilt became more painful than the prospect of imprisonment. His life now serves as an unusual and deeply emotional example of conscience, accountability, and the lasting consequences of violence. What once seemed like a promising hip-hop career ultimately became a story remembered less for music than for a confession that forever changed 2 families and ended decades of unanswered questions. Felicia Pearson. Long before television audiences recognized Felicia Pearson as the unforgettable Snoop in HBO's The Wire, she had already survived a childhood marked by violence, instability, and hardship. Born in Baltimore to parents struggling with addiction, Pearson was raised in an environment where crime was a daily reality rather than an exception. By the time most teenagers were beginning high school, she had already experienced circumstances that few adults could imagine. Those early years placed her on a dangerous path that would dramatically alter the course of her life. In 1995, at only 14 years old, Pearson became involved in a confrontation that ended with the fatal shooting of 15-year-old Okia Toomer. She was arrested, prosecuted, and convicted of second-degree murder, receiving time in a juvenile correctional facility. During her incarceration, Pearson gradually began reflecting on the choices that had brought her there. After her release, she returned to Baltimore determined to avoid repeating the mistakes that had nearly cost her entire future, although rebuilding her life proved far from easy. Her remarkable turnaround began when actor Michael K. Williams learned about her real-life experiences and introduced her to the creators of The Wire. Producers believed her authenticity could not be taught, and they cast her as Snoop, one of the series' most memorable characters. Ironically, the role required her to portray a ruthless enforcer whose violent lifestyle closely resembled parts of the world she had struggled to escape. Critics praised her natural performance, and the series transformed her into an internationally recognized actress. Felicia Pearson's story is neither one of glorifying crime nor pretending the past never happened. Instead, it reflects the difficult possibility of personal change after devastating mistakes. Although her conviction will always remain part of her history, she has often used her experiences to speak openly about the realities of violence, incarceration, and redemption. Her journey demonstrates that while some consequences can never be erased, a person's future does not always have to mirror the darkest chapter of their past. Charles S. Dutton. Few journeys in Hollywood are as extraordinary as that of Charles S. Dutton. Before earning acclaim as an Emmy-winning actor and the star of the television series, Rock Dutton spent years behind prison walls for a crime committed during his youth. Raised in a tough Baltimore neighborhood, he struggled with violence and limited opportunities, circumstances that eventually led him into a confrontation that changed his life forever. What followed, however, became one of the entertainment industry's most remarkable stories of rehabilitation. At the age of 17, Dutton became involved in a street fight that ended with another man being fatally stabbed. He was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to prison. For many young offenders, incarceration marked the beginning of an endless cycle of crime. In Dutton's case, it became the turning point. While serving his sentence, he developed a passion for reading literature and theater. Performing in prison productions introduced him to acting, awakening a talent he had never previously imagined. After his release, Dutton committed himself to education with extraordinary determination. He attended Towson University before earning a Master of Fine Arts degree from the Yale School of Drama, one of America's most prestigious acting institutions. His powerful performances on Broadway eventually opened the door to television and film, where he became known for portraying complex, emotionally grounded characters. His work earned multiple Emmy Awards and widespread respect throughout the entertainment industry. Unlike many celebrity crime stories, Charles S. Dutton's life is often cited as an example of genuine rehabilitation rather than continuing violence. He has never attempted to excuse the crime he committed as a teenager, instead acknowledging the devastating consequences while encouraging young people to avoid the path he once followed. His remarkable transformation demonstrates that redemption requires accountability, discipline, and years of sustained effort. Although his past can never be erased, his later achievements prove that one tragic mistake does not always have to define an entire lifetime. Cool C. During the late 1980s, Cool C, born Christopher Roney, emerged as one of Philadelphia's most recognizable rappers. His energetic performances and releases with Hilltop Hustlers helped establish him within the city's growing hip-hop scene, while songs like The Glamorous Life earned regional success. He appeared destined for a long career, respected for his lyrical confidence and street credibility. Yet beneath the music, financial pressures and poor decisions gradually pushed him toward a path that would end not with another hit record, but with one of the most infamous crimes in Philadelphia history. On January 2, 1996, Cool C joined several accomplices in an attempted armed robbery at a PNC Bank branch in Philadelphia. Their carefully planned operation unraveled within moments when Philadelphia police officer Lauretha Ward responded to the scene. During the confrontation, Officer Ward was fatally shot, becoming the first female Philadelphia police officer killed in the line of duty. Investigators quickly gathered physical evidence, witness testimony, and statements from participants that identified Cool C as the gunman responsible for the fatal shot. Following his arrest, prosecutors pursued first-degree murder charges. The trial resulted in a conviction, and Cool C was sentenced to death. Although Pennsylvania later imposed a moratorium on executions, he remains on death row, his appeals continuing decades after the crime. His music career effectively ended the moment the robbery turned deadly, replacing platinum dreams with years of confinement and legal battles. Today, Cool C's legacy is remembered less for his contributions to Philadelphia hip-hop than for a violent decision that forever altered countless lives. A respected police officer lost her future, a family lost a loved one, and a promising artist lost both his freedom and reputation. His story remains a sobering reminder that a single criminal act can erase years of hard work and talent, leaving behind consequences that extend far beyond the courtroom and continue to resonate long after the headlines disappear. Chi Ali. In the early 1990s, Chi Ali seemed destined to become one of hip-hop's brightest young stars. Born Chi Ali Griffith, he entered the music industry while still a teenager, signing with the Native Tongues collective alongside respected artists such as A Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul. His youthful charisma and debut album, The Fabulous Chi Ali, earned praise for its playful style and positive energy. At only 14 years old, he represented a new generation of rap talent. Sadly, that promise would soon be overshadowed by a tragic act of violence. On January 14, 2000, an argument in the Bronx escalated into a fatal shooting. The victim was Sean Raymond, the brother of Chi Ali's girlfriend. According to investigators, tensions between the two men had been building before the confrontation turned deadly. After the shooting, Chi Ali fled New York and spent more than a year as a fugitive, appearing on the FBI's list of wanted suspects. His disappearance drew national attention and transformed the once promising rapper into the subject of an extensive manhunt. In March 2001, federal agents located and arrested him in Yonkers, New York. Facing overwhelming evidence, Chi Ali eventually pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter. He received a lengthy prison sentence, effectively ending the music career that had begun with so much promise. After serving his sentence, he was released, but his name has remained permanently associated with the tragedy rather than his early artistic achievements. Chi Ali's story illustrates how quickly opportunity can disappear when violence replaces judgment. He entered the entertainment industry as a gifted teenager, admired for his talent and optimism, yet one irreversible decision transformed public perception forever. For longtime hip-hop fans, he remains one of the genre's greatest unrealized talents. A young artist whose future was not destroyed by a lack of ability, but by a moment of violence that forever changed multiple families and ended a career almost before it truly began. Silento. Few artists have experienced fame as quickly as Silento. Born Ricky Lamar Hawk, he became an international sensation in 2015 after releasing Watch Me Whip / Nay Nay, a dance anthem that exploded across YouTube and social media. The song reached the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 and accumulated billions of online views, making the young rapper a household name almost overnight. However, the rapid rise to stardom also brought intense personal pressure, public scrutiny, and a series of troubling incidents that hinted at deeper struggles behind the scenes. On January 21, 2021, police in DeKalb County, Georgia responded to reports of gunfire and discovered 34-year-old Frederick Rooks dead from multiple gunshot wounds. Investigators used surveillance footage, ballistic evidence, and cell phone data to trace a vehicle connected to Silento. The victim was not a stranger, but the rapper's cousin, making the case even more heartbreaking. Authorities arrested Silento shortly afterward, charging him with murder and related offenses. His family later spoke publicly about his long-standing mental health challenges, urging compassion while acknowledging the devastating loss suffered by everyone involved. In 2025, Silento pleaded guilty but mentally ill to voluntary manslaughter and other charges related to the shooting. He received a prison sentence, bringing the criminal proceedings to a conclusion while recognizing documented mental illness as part of the case. The outcome underscored both legal accountability and the importance of addressing severe psychological conditions before they escalate into tragedy. Today, Silento's career is remembered as one of the fastest rises and most heartbreaking falls in modern music. A performer once celebrated for bringing joy to millions through a viral dance became the focus of a devastating criminal case that forever changed multiple families. His story highlights the complex intersection of fame, untreated mental illness, and personal responsibility, reminding audiences that success alone cannot protect someone from profound personal struggles or their consequences. Lil Loaded. Lil Loaded, born Deshaun Maurice Robertson, represented a new generation of Dallas rap artists whose careers were fueled by streaming platforms and social media. His breakout single 6LOCC6A6Y attracted millions of views online, introducing listeners to his energetic delivery and authentic storytelling. As his popularity grew, record labels and fans viewed him as one of hip-hop's emerging young voices. Yet behind the momentum, his life would be interrupted by a tragedy that permanently altered both his future and the lives of those closest to him. On October 25, 2020, Robertson was involved in a shooting that resulted in the death of his close friend Khalil Walker. Investigators determined that the firearm discharged during an incident involving the two young men. Authorities charged Lil Loaded with manslaughter, alleging criminal negligence rather than intentional homicide. Throughout the legal process, the case attracted widespread media attention because of his rapidly growing music career and the heartbreaking circumstances surrounding the loss of a longtime friend. Before the case could proceed to trial, another tragedy unfolded. On May 31, 2021, only days before a scheduled court hearing, Lil Loaded died by suicide at the age of 20. His death shocked fans, fellow musicians, and the broader hip-hop community. While the criminal case ended with his passing, the emotional impact on both families continued long afterward. Friends described him as a talented young artist struggling under extraordinary personal pressure during the final months of his life. Lil Loaded's story is ultimately one of unrealized potential. He possessed the talent to build a successful career, but a single tragic incident and the emotional weight that followed proved overwhelming. Rather than being remembered solely for his music, his legacy has become intertwined with conversations about firearm safety, mental health, and the immense pressures faced by young artists navigating sudden fame. His life serves as a poignant reminder that success cannot erase emotional pain or prevent irreversible consequences. Henry Ruggs III. Henry Ruggs III appeared destined to become one of the National Football League's brightest young stars. After a standout collegiate career at the University of Alabama, he was selected by the Las Vegas Raiders with the 12th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. Blessed with extraordinary speed, Ruggs quickly became known as one of football's most dangerous deep-threat receivers. Fans envisioned years of highlight reel performances, but his promising career ended abruptly following one devastating night in Las Vegas. During the early morning hours of November 2, 2021, Ruggs was driving his Chevrolet Corvette at an extremely high speed after consuming alcohol. According to investigators, his vehicle struck the rear of a Toyota RAV4 driven by 23-year-old Tina Tintor. The collision caused a catastrophic fire that claimed the lives of Tintor and her dog at the scene. Police determined that Ruggs' blood alcohol concentration exceeded Nevada's legal limit, while crash reconstruction showed his vehicle had been traveling at approximately 156 miles per hour shortly before impact. The Raiders released Ruggs within hours of the crash, ending his professional football career almost immediately. In 2023, he pleaded guilty to felony DUI resulting in death and misdemeanor vehicular manslaughter. A Nevada judge sentenced him to a prison term of between 3 and 10 years. The case became one of the most widely discussed examples of the devastating consequences of impaired and reckless driving involving a professional athlete. Henry Ruggs III's story is no longer remembered for athletic achievement or remarkable speed on the football field. Instead, it stands as a powerful warning about the irreversible consequences of irresponsible decisions behind the wheel. One young woman lost her life. A promising NFL career disappeared overnight, and multiple families were left carrying unimaginable grief. His case continues to remind both athletes and fans that talent and fame offer no protection from accountability when reckless choices lead to irreversible tragedy. Josh Brent. Josh Brent's football career once seemed filled with promise. A standout defensive lineman at the University of Illinois, he entered the NFL as a member of the Dallas Cowboys, where coaches admired his strength, determination, and potential. By 2012, he had become an important part of the team's defensive rotation, earning respect from teammates who believed his best seasons were still ahead. But one reckless decision during a late-night drive would forever overshadow every achievement he accomplished on the football field. In the early morning hours of December 8, 2012, Brent was driving his Mercedes-Benz in Irving, Texas after a night of drinking. Riding beside him was close friend and fellow Cowboys player Jerry Brown Jr. According to investigators, Brent was traveling at excessive speed when he lost control of the vehicle. The car struck a curb, flipped several times and burst into flames. Brent escaped with injuries, but Brown became trapped inside the burning vehicle and died at the scene. Tests later showed Brent's blood alcohol concentration was well above Texas's legal limit. Authorities charged Brent with intoxication manslaughter. During the legal proceedings, he expressed deep remorse, acknowledging the devastating consequences of his actions. In 2014, he was convicted and sentenced to 180 days in jail along with probation. Although the sentence reflected Texas law, for the offense no punishment could undo the loss suffered by Jerry Brown's family or erase Brent's own lifelong guilt. The Dallas Cowboys placed him on the reserve/retired list, effectively bringing his NFL career to an end. Josh Brent's story remains one of professional football's most heartbreaking cautionary tales. Two talented young athletes entered a vehicle that night, but only one survived. What should have been a celebration among teammates instead became a tragedy remembered throughout the NFL. His case continues to serve as a powerful reminder that impaired driving can destroy lives in seconds, ending careers, shattering families, and leaving emotional scars that last far longer than any prison sentence. Jason Williams. During the 1990s, Jason Williams established himself as one of the NBA's toughest and most energetic rebounders. Playing primarily for the New Jersey Nets, the athletic forward earned an NBA All-Star selection in 1998 and became known for his relentless hustle, physical style, and leadership on the court. Fans admired his passion for basketball, while teammates respected the intensity he brought every night. Yet after retirement, one tragic incident inside his own home permanently transformed his public legacy. On February 14, 2002, Williams hosted friends at his New Jersey mansion following a charity event. Among the guests was limousine driver Kostas Gus Christofi. During the gathering, Williams handled a 12-gauge shotgun that he mistakenly believed was unloaded. The weapon discharged, striking Christofi in the chest and killing him almost instantly. Instead of immediately accepting responsibility, prosecutors alleged that Williams and others attempted to stage the scene to make the shooting appear accidental or self-inflicted. That decision complicated the investigation and significantly increased public scrutiny. The legal process stretched over several years. After an initial trial ended without a complete resolution, Williams eventually pleaded guilty in 2010 to aggravated assault related to the fatal shooting and admitted attempting to obstruct the investigation. He served a prison sentence before being released. Although prosecutors did not ultimately secure a murder conviction, the tragic death of Christofi remained the defining event of Williams' post-basketball life. For many sports fans, Jason Williams represents a painful lesson about firearm safety and personal responsibility. A celebrated professional athlete with financial success and widespread admiration lost nearly everything because of one catastrophic mistake and the decisions that followed. His achievements on the basketball court still exist in the record books, but they are now inseparable from a tragedy that claimed an innocent life. Decades later, the case continues to remind people that careless handling of firearms can produce irreversible consequences in a single devastating moment. Vybz Kartel. For more than 2 decades, Vybz Kartel stood among the most influential figures in dancehall music. Born Adidja Palmer, the Jamaican recording artist built an enormous international following through his sharp lyricism, prolific songwriting, and unmistakable vocal style. His music shaped modern dancehall and inspired countless younger performers, earning him recognition far beyond the Caribbean. Yet while his popularity continued to grow, a criminal investigation would become one of Jamaica's most closely watched legal battles. The case centered on the disappearance of Clive "Lizard" Williams in August 2011. Prosecutors alleged that Williams had been lured to a house in Kingston over missing firearms and was subsequently killed. Although his body was never recovered, investigators relied on witness testimony, digital evidence, text messages, and forensic findings presented during an exceptionally lengthy trial. The proceedings attracted international attention, becoming one of the most expensive and complex murder trials in Jamaican history. In 2014, Kartel and several co-defendants were convicted of murder and received life sentences. For years, the artist maintained his innocence while continuing to release music recorded before and during his incarceration. However, the legal story changed dramatically in 2024 when the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in London ruled that serious juror misconduct had compromised the fairness of the original trial. Jamaican prosecutors later decided not to pursue a retrial, and Kartel was released from prison after spending more than 13 years in custody. Today, Vybz Kartel's case remains one of the most debated in Caribbean legal history. His release did not establish factual innocence. Rather, it reflected the court's conclusion that the original proceedings had been legally flawed. As a result, his legacy continues to balance extraordinary musical influence with one of the region's most controversial criminal prosecutions, ensuring that discussions about his life remain as complex and divisive as ever. Gucci Mane. Before becoming one of hip-hop's most respected veterans, Gucci Mane experienced a defining legal battle that nearly ended both his career and his freedom. Born Redrick Davis, the Atlanta rapper emerged in the mid-2000s as one of the architects of modern trap music. His mixtapes, relentless work ethic, and ability to discover new talent helped shape an entire generation of Southern hip-hop. Yet early in his rise to fame, he found himself at the center of a fatal shooting that attracted nationwide attention. On May 10, 2005, several armed men confronted Gucci Mane near a residence in Decatur, Georgia. According to investigators and later court records, the confrontation escalated into gunfire. During the exchange, Gucci fired his weapon in what he claimed was self-defense. One of the alleged attackers, Henry Lee Clark III, known as Pookie Lock, was killed. His body was discovered days later in a wooded area. Authorities arrested Gucci and charged him with murder while launching a detailed investigation into the circumstances surrounding the shooting. As the case progressed, prosecutors faced significant evidentiary challenges. Witness testimony proved inconsistent, and investigators were unable to establish sufficient evidence to disprove Gucci's claim that he had acted in self-defense. In January 2006, the murder charge was dismissed. Although he avoided conviction in the homicide case, Gucci later served prison sentences in unrelated weapons and probation matters before rebuilding both his career and personal life. Unlike many stories involving celebrity violence, Gucci Mane's case ended without a murder conviction because prosecutors concluded they could not meet the legal burden required for trial. His experience nevertheless marked a major turning point in his life. Following years of legal trouble, substance abuse, and incarceration on other offenses, he reinvented himself through sobriety, business success, and renewed focus on music. Today, his story illustrates not only the complexities of self-defense law, but also the possibility of personal transformation after years of turmoil. Cassidy. During the early 2000s, Cassidy emerged as one of Philadelphia's brightest rap talents. Born Barry Adrian Reese, he earned widespread recognition through his exceptional freestyle skills, clever punchlines, and commercially successful hits such as Hotel, I'm a Hustler, and My Drink and My Two-Step. Signed to Full Surface Records under Swiss Beats, Cassidy quickly established himself as one of East Coast hip-hop's most respected lyricists. His future appeared exceptionally bright until a violent confrontation placed his career in serious jeopardy. On April 15, 2005, a dispute in West Philadelphia escalated into a deadly shooting that left 22-year-old Desmond Hawkins dead and 2 others injured. Police identified Cassidy as one of several individuals present during the incident and charged him with murder, attempted murder, aggravated assault, and related offenses. The case immediately attracted national attention as one of rap's fastest rising stars suddenly faced the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. As the investigation progressed, the prosecution encountered significant challenges. Several witnesses changed or withdrew portions of their earlier statements, and the evidence supporting the original murder charge weakened considerably. In 2006, Cassidy accepted a plea agreement, pleading guilty to involuntary manslaughter rather than murder. He was sentenced to prison and later released after serving approximately 8 months, receiving credit for time already spent in custody. Although he eventually returned to music, the legal case permanently altered public perception of his career. Cassidy's story illustrates how quickly success can be interrupted by violence, even when the final legal outcome differs from the original allegations. His conviction for involuntary manslaughter remains an important chapter in his life, reminding audiences that every decision made during moments of conflict can carry lasting consequences. Despite continuing to record music and participate in high-profile rap battles, his legacy is forever linked to a tragedy that changed multiple lives and reshaped the course of his professional journey. Shine. At the turn of the millennium, Shine appeared destined to become Bad Boy Records' next major superstar. Born Jamal Barrow in Belize and raised in Brooklyn, New York, his deep voice and gritty storytelling drew immediate comparisons to legendary rappers of the 1990s. Under the mentorship of Sean Diddy Combs, Shine released his debut album in 2000 and quickly attracted attention as one of hip-hop's most promising newcomers. However, before his career could fully develop, one violent night in Manhattan changed everything. The incident occurred on December 27, 1999, inside Club New York, where Shine Diddy and Jennifer Lopez were attending a party. An argument escalated into gunfire, leaving 3 people injured, including Natania Rubin, who suffered a gunshot wound to the face. Although no one was killed, the shooting became one of the entertainment industry's most publicized criminal cases. Prosecutors argued that Shine fired the weapon during the confrontation, while the defense maintained that he acted amid chaos and confusion. In 2001, a jury convicted Shine of assault, reckless endangerment, and criminal possession of a weapon. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Importantly, despite frequent misconceptions online, Shine was not convicted of murder because no fatalities resulted from the nightclub shooting. After serving nearly 9 years, he was released in 2009 and deported to Belize, where he later entered politics. He eventually became the leader of the opposition in Belize's House of Representatives, completing one of the most unusual transformations in modern public life. Shine's story is one of extraordinary reinvention. While the nightclub shooting permanently interrupted his music career, he later rebuilt his reputation through public service rather than entertainment. His journey demonstrates that although criminal convictions can reshape a person's future, they do not necessarily determine every chapter that follows. Today, he is remembered not only as a rapper, but also as a national political figure whose life took an unexpected direction after years behind bars. Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez possessed extraordinary athletic ability from an early age. After starring at the University of Florida, where he helped the Gators win a national championship, he entered the NFL as a fourth-round draft pick by the New England Patriots in 2010. Paired with future Hall of Famer Rob Gronkowski, Hernandez quickly became one of football's most dynamic tight ends. His combination of speed, strength, and versatility suggested a long career filled with Pro Bowls and championships. Instead, his legacy would become one of the most shocking criminal cases in professional sports history. On June 17, 2013, the body of 27-year-old Odin Lloyd was discovered in an industrial park near Hernandez's Massachusetts home. Lloyd, a semi-professional football player and the boyfriend of Hernandez's fiancée's sister, had been shot multiple times. Surveillance footage, cell phone records, ballistic evidence, and witness testimony placed Hernandez at the center of the investigation. Within days, police arrested the NFL star, stunning fans who had viewed him as one of the league's brightest young talents. In 2015, following a lengthy and closely watched trial, Hernandez was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Although he was later acquitted in a separate double homicide case involving a 2012 shooting, the conviction for Lloyd's murder remained in effect. On April 19, 2017, Hernandez died by suicide in his prison cell at the age of 27 while serving his life sentence. Aaron Hernandez's story remains one of the most tragic collapses ever witnessed in American sports. A career filled with extraordinary promise ended in violence, incarceration, and an early death. In the years since, documentaries and investigations have explored numerous factors surrounding his life, including repeated head trauma, mental health, and personal struggles. Nevertheless, the central fact remains unchanged. The murder of Odin Lloyd forever transformed Hernandez from an NFL star into one of the most infamous figures in sports history. As we've seen, every one of these stories began with talent, fame, and extraordinary opportunity, but ended with choices that changed lives forever. Some were convicted beyond doubt, others claimed self-defense or continued to challenge their convictions, yet every case left families grieving and careers shattered. It reminds us that success can elevate a person to the top, but one irreversible moment can erase decades of achievement. Which case shocked you the most, and do you believe justice was truly served in every story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoy powerful true stories like these, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Golden Black Legends so you never miss our next documentary.